Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of On the Paint Table. This is my weekly show where you see what I got done, what I'm working on, and what is coming up. So, this week I painted 29 more models for Aliens, another glorious day in the core. Base coated and primed some more. Base coated and primed all of my new Explorers Guild stuff for Malifaux. And started collecting everything I need to put together my dwarf project for Oathmark. Yeah, so it was, again, another pretty productive week. Now, 29 models, that sounds impressive until you see what I've done. I painted all of the terrain and accessories for another glorious day in the core. I took a break between doing characters to do that. It's one of those things I find when you're doing a project, breaking up the kind of simple, monotonous stuff and the fun, like character-driven stuff tends to be a good way of kind of segmenting your workload. I actually wrote a bit of an article about that in the Armies, Legions, and Hordes that Dave Taylor put out, how kind of like taking a break from the monotony can get you energized about finishing a project. I also know that if I don't finish painting the vast majority of this stuff, I'm saving the stuff from the second big expansion, the Queen and stuff, for later, because I want to spend some time on it, like the Power Loader and the Enraged Ripley model. I won't pick up Steam again. So I've played 4 games of Another Glorious Day in the Core. You saw one yesterday. People are pretty excited about it. Obviously, it's a Let's Play, so it's just me learning the rules and playing through my first mission. But I need, there's going to be some time in between me having played those 4 games and then playing through the next expansion, which is like 3 more missions. And if I don't get this work done now with all the accessories and stuff, well, I'm still excited about it, and then it'll be ready to go when I do the next project. I know I'm going to run out of steam, and it's going to be that thing where I'm like, do I want to do it? Really? I got to put all these models together. So I like to harness my enthusiasm and get some things done. So there's a lot of computers and little bits and bobs. And while I was doing that, I had the assembly sort of like bug. I assembled all of my stuff for Malifaux as well, because again, that's another thing that I don't enjoy doing as much as painting, as putting stuff together. And that way, when I finish this project, I can just kick right into that and I'll be ready to rock and roll. So let's see what I got done and what is coming up. So first things first, here is the done pile. I've got a little bit of this box set left to go. I didn't quite finish 5 of the crates, because I'm doing them in different colors. I wanted to do not all the same like crate colors to break them up. I painted my beige and my brown crates, and my green ones still need to be painted. But anyway, my Weyland-Yutani like shipping crates, I did these half primed black. The green ones and the brown ones will have been primed black, and the other half primed Wraithbone. And then the beige ones have been hit with Citadel Contrast, Skeleton Horde, and then dry brushed up through like a light beige. And then the black ones were dry brushed with Scale 75 Leather Brown up through a light beige. And then done details. And I did this again because you can kind of like, you can streamline your workflow when you're using similar colors. I have the same colors for the consoles, so it's Wraithbone again, and then hit with Skeleton Horde and dry brushed up through beige. And then all of the keys are done with different, I did the green keys with, I think it's like a Nurgle green, and the black keys with Black Templar, as well as the screens, and then just painted on the little like Weyland-Yutani symbols and text, because it's all in like monochrome screen. I used the same brown highlighted with a different brown from Scale 75 for the sentry guns, the UAC 5, so the UA 571 sentry gun, which is like one of the most iconic scenes in Aliens. And if you're watching an edition of Aliens that doesn't have the sentry gun scene, just turn it off and go find the one that does, because it's maybe one of the best scenes in the whole movie. Anyway, you got sentry guns A and B for all the sentry gun missions. I did play through the original 3 missions from Another Glorious Day in the Core with just the cardboard tokens that came through, because I thought it was important to just showcase what comes in the box when I play those missions. But all my future missions, I'll be using all of the cool 3D assets. And then I got some face huggers and some alien eggs, and you get 2 open ones to go with the face huggers. And 2 closed ones. These were done a lot like the aliens themselves, except what I did to kind of green them up a little bit was I dry brushed them stone gray from Army Painter, and then mixed in, I think it's like scale green into that to give it to dry brush like the highlights. And I kind of led the dry brushing higher and higher around kind of like the opening. And then when that was done, I thinned down with some Ard Coat, some Warp Lightning Green from Citadel Contrast, and with that and a little bit of water, and then washed it onto kind of the ropey tentacle bits that it's laid on, and then the sort of like, I guess the lips, I don't know what you would call it, of the eggs. Once it was all finished, I actually gave it a bit of gloss varnish on the interior and also the openings to kind of like replicate that slimy look. And then the these guys are super simple. These are just Wraithbone with not Wraithbone even, tan skin, I think it is, from Army Painter, and then highlighted or washed with Flesh Wash, and then highlighted up through just like a beige for the facehuggers. They're dead easy. And there's two, like they're both supposed to actually be like this, but I put one kind of crawling as well because I like the idea of it crawling, just by bending his tail a little bit and putting him down there. So 2 facehuggers and 2 open eggs, 6 closed eggs, 6 consoles, 2 sentry guns A and B, and 11 crates for what I painted this week. Pretty much like all in between online learning with the kids. I did them after they went to bed for the most part because the weeks are getting hectic with staying home and doing online learning, and it's nice to be able to just do some stuff that was kind of monotonous. It was a perfect project. So it's not a lot of colors, so it's easy to like pick up and put down and batch paint. I do recommend if you are trying to like fit your hobby around stay-at-home stuff right now, doing stuff like scenery and terrain and like simple assets that all share colors is a great way of getting it done, because you can walk away from it really easy. It's not like painting a face or painting like a cloak or something. And after I finish the last 5 crates from this, because I'm not gonna show you that on camera, they're just boring. I'm gonna start finishing off my ultimate badasses, and that'll finish those 2 expansion boxes for another Glorious Day in the Core. And it'll be just the big box that I can do, kind of like to jazz myself up for doing after these first 4 episodes air, doing the following 3. We got Carter Burke, because of course, you know, you can't have aliens without the ultimate betrayer, Paul Reiser. And it's not about Paul Reiser miniature. I never thought in my life I'd say, oh boy, I'm looking forward to painting this Paul Reiser miniature, but I guess I am. We got Sergeant Apone, one of my favorite characters in Aliens, who's of course, you know, collecting mags from everybody. And then we got like a couple of more A-listers. We have Drake with his smart gun, who's of course awesome. We've got Crow with a pulse rifle. We've got Dietrich with a flamethrower. And then we've got, I think the only time I actually remember him being in the film is when Hicks yells his name as he's being eaten by aliens, and it's Wierzbowski. So we got Wierzbowski as well. So Dietrich, Crow, and Wierzbowski are kind of like the B-list cast. Apone and Drake, of course, from the A-list. So I'm probably going to go Apone, then Wierzbowski, then Drake, then, I forgot your name already. Dietrich, and Dietrich, sound off. That's all I can remember. And then Burke, and then finally Crow, as my last painting for a little while for Aliens. And then I might actually try and like, because I've got all these assets painted, I might see what other games I could fit them into. There's a ton of like other indie and sci-fi rule sets they'd be great for. I was even thinking using them for something like Stargrave or what was the other one I was thinking of? There's a couple of them. Operation Last Train by Joe McCall. A couple of Joe's games they'd fit really well into. Once that's done and that project can be considered sort of like, you know, like mission accomplished for a little while, we're going to move on to this and start painting my Explorers Guild. Oh my god, I love the story for these guys. So if you haven't been keeping up with this new faction for Explorers Society, this new faction for Malifaux, they are founded by this fellow right here, Justin Cooper, who is a lord, kind of like a dilettante lord, a bit of an Alan Quatermain kind of adventurer. He likes to hunt big game, and eventually he ended up in Malifaux hunting like the biggest monster you could find. And he was betrayed. I won't give away too much of the story, but he gets eaten by a mauler, and he ends up in kind of a feud with Marcus, who is the Arcanist Beastmaster, because he's just going around Malifaux killing all the animals. Marcus doesn't like that, and so he gets both his arms and one of his legs eaten by a mauler, which is of course no bueno. And so he recovers at his like estate in Malifaux, and has one of these like artisans build him a new body over the course of like a couple years. And during which time his most loyal retainers, which are these guys, Uller and Artemis, his 2 dogs that were given to him right before he gets eaten, his Vatagi huntsmen, who are friends of his from back in Russia when he was hunting in Russia, and then these Crypsis Corps, who are also like these former mercenaries that have come to work for him. Help him to rebuild his body. And it's like 3 or 4 years before he can actually walk again, but he ends up with this like incredible, like now I'm a Superman, stronger than before, soulstone powered body with 2 new arms and a new leg. And the artisan even uses the leftovers to make this guy Model 9. Model 9 is all the body parts from the 9 previous iterations of his body that didn't quite work out as he was crafting them, turned into like an automaton, who's like his like side hunting partner now. Never speaks, but is this like weird sort of like companion that he has. But the problem is he gets a little Ghost in the Darkness. I'm gonna throw some obscure movie references out here. He's kind of like Michael Douglas now in Ghost in the Darkness, where he just doesn't get the same thrill from hunting animals anymore after he goes and kills the Mauler, because his body's like too strong. He's more than a man now. And so he starts hunting John Voight style, the most dangerous game of all, and starts hiring like runaways and local sort of like poor folks. If they can, he gives them a half-hour head start, and if he doesn't kill them, they get like 2,000 like guild script or whatever. And so these are actually his totems and his minions, which I find hilarious. He gets them for free. And all they do is he counts them as enemies in his own army, and all they do is run from him. But he can get soul stones for killing them, and then the people that hunt them instead of him. So if someone decides to kill them instead of him, or if you can't, I guess you could just ignore them. But if you do, then he gets adversary against the people that kill them. So they end up dying no matter what. But no matter if they die, they never count towards like schemes and stratagems, and he can earn soul stones from shooting them if he wants. And people who kill them will like get the adversary condition, which is bad. So it's a really interesting mechanic, and one I've not seen before, where your minions are also your totems and also enemy models, and the rest of the hunting crew will head off after him. So I'm really stoked that the sort of like the style is really cool. I like his like adventurer gone bad, because he founds the Explorer Society in Malifaux, but then hands it off because he realizes that like he's not really exploring anymore. He's just satisfying his like need for kill. And yeah, I'm pumped. I'll be playing against. It's convenient because Owen's doing Arcanists. I'll be able to play against Arcanists on my hunt to fight Marcus, basically, and take him down. So I think Owen's not playing Arcanists yet. He'll be playing other things, but that's his big rival is going to be Marcus, as like the other big predator, the big alpha. And last but not least, starting off my dwarf project finally for Oathmark with these awesome things you'll be able to see tomorrow, which is battle squares, trays, and bases. These are fully magnetized 25 mil scenic bases on a magnetized tray as well. So even the tray is magnetic, and this will be something I'll be able to put in my new big magnetic carrying case. I put all my Titanicus stuff in. It's going to be able to store this army as well. So you've got some character bases here, again, all magnetized, some massive movement trays, so some 4-man strips to put in my squares. They even do some pre-painted stuff too. You can see here there's a big pre-painted like chariot style base. So I'll review these tomorrow. I'm going to crack them open. You actually see them in the case and stuff. But my plan is I've got 60 dwarf infantry to build out in various units. So a couple of 20-man squares, a couple of 10-man squares, which I'll augment, of course, with these, which give me more loose bases, and then my 6 character models on this as well. And I'll be ready to rock and roll and try out some Oathmark. So you're on the paint table, done it on the books, another 29 models painted, lots of projects on the go, endless projects, and more stuff coming up next week. So anyway, we'll see you tomorrow for Witches and Wonders. You can check out these cool battle squares bases, these magnetic movement trays for classic rank and flank. Fill in a mash. Happy gaming. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you want to support the channel, of course, like and subscribe and hit the little bell below so you get notifications when I post future content. I do post stuff 7 days a week. If you want to support the channel further, you can, of course, buy a t-shirt through Spreadshirts, buy a measuring gauge or objective markers from Desperate Designs, or, of course, most importantly, there is Patreon. Patreon is what makes all this possible, keeps the lights on, pays for the studio costs, pays for the equipment, model costs, and everything else, and most importantly, puts food in my kids' bellies and a roof over their heads. Big thanks to everyone, past, future, who supported me. I do this stuff because of you guys, and of course, I will continue doing it as long as I can.